The Battle of Berlin was one of the major battles in Europe during World War II. World War II was a global war which lasted from 1939 through 1945. The Battle of Berlin began on April 16, 1945, and lasted until May 2, 1945. The battle was fought between the Nazis and the Soviet Army. The Soviet Army, with 2,500,000 soldiers and 6,250 tanks, had exceedingly outnumbered the Germans with 1,000,000 soldiers and 1,500 tanks. Desperately lacking military, Nazi forces enlisted young boys and old men. German housewife Dorothea von Schwanenflügel mentioned in her book, Hitler had come out of his bunker to talk with the 14 to 16-year-old boys who had volunteered for the honor to be accepted in the SS. What a cruel lie! These boys did not volunteer, but had no choice, because boys who were found hiding were hanged as traitors by the SS. The Nazi commander was Adolf Hitler and the Soviet commander Georgy Zhukov. The battle began on April 15th when the Soviets attacked the Oder River and advanced their forces. By April 20th, the Soviets began bombing Berlin. They worked their way around Berlin and completely surrounded it. The fighting became fierce once the Soviets entered the city. By April 30th, the Nazis started running out of ammunition and the Soviets approached the center of the city. NBC Radio News broadcasted about the eventual collapse of Germany and end of the war in Europe. At this point, Hitler committed suicide and admitted defeat. On May 2nd, the Nazi generals in Berlin surrendered to the Soviet army. Colonel Venkov of the Soviet Army writes, General Wilding and 2 other general officers crossed the front line and surrendered. And on May 7th, the Nazi leaders signed a surrender to the Allies and the war in Europe was over. The surrender of Germany and death of Adolf Hitler was a resounding victory for the Soviet Union and the Allies. However, the battle took its toll on both sides.